Right, thank you, Nick. Morning, Martin. I'm going to get cracking. Welcome to this week's edition of Marketing Crew, where we get together to discuss all things marketing. And it is, for the benefit of Andrew, an open discussion. We don't spend a lot of time talking about what everybody does, etc., and selling to each other. It's more of a collaboration of ideas. And I'm really pleased that Damien is back with us, because the subject this week is about sales promotion, and his whole life revolves around helping people with sales promotion online, etc. We have two photographers either side of Damien, Marcus and Nick. We have a business coach in Tracy. We have a web developer, an SEO specialist in Ollie. And we have another, well, a brand ambassador, a person that does joined up branding and design in Martin. So how about that for an introduction? So you're pretty new. Well, it's first time, Andrew. Do you want to tell us basically very, very short what it is you do?
Thank you, Paul, and thanks very much for the invite. Essentially, what we're about is we've set ourselves up as a consultancy, in inverted commas, if you like, and essentially work with businesses in helping them maximize what they've already got in customers and clients. We find, and you probably see this a lot, businesses spend an absolute fortune trying to get new customers, new clients. Once they've got them, they're not sure what to do with them once they've made their first purchase. And so we're about putting processes in place and automation in place to make sure that businesses make the most out of the customers they've got and spent so much time and effort to get. And it's something that a lot of businesses sort of set up and think, oh yeah, I never thought of that. They're all about targets for the front end, but they're forgetting there's a whole other business possibly lying on their books already, and so we're about helping them maximize that.
Well, they should come on Marketing Crew, because we're talking about that all of the time, and you and Damien certainly ought to connect after this meeting. I'm already seeing a good connection there, that's for sure. Right, what we normally do is somebody, invariably myself or one of the members, share some of their expertise, and we decided that this week was going to be about sales promotion. And who amongst the group periodically or occasionally decides to set up a sales promotion? Just a show of hands. Damien and Chris. Welcome, Chris, by the way. Good to see you back. That's interesting, isn't it? Right, I'm going to just share my screen for a moment. And by the way, in the open discussions, just for Andrew's benefit, if you want to raise your hand, if you want to make a point, and we encourage that, just raise your hand. I will spot it and I'll take people in order. Okay, let's now share this screen. And I trust you can see that. Unfortunately, I can't see everybody. So if you need to raise anything there, you need to shout out. So, so let's look at sales promotion. Sales promotion is, clicked it twice. Get that out of the way. According to Wikipedia, sales promotion is one of the elements of the promotional mix. The primary elements in the promotional mix are advertising, personal selling, direct marketing, and public relations. Uses any or all of those elements. And get back on there. What I want to do is talk about three things: the basics of sales promotion, how business benefits from sales promotion, and then really I want to spend most of the meeting exploring sales promotion ideas. When I looked at this, I thought, what's the benefit? What is the basic of a sales promotion? It's persuading a target audience to become and remain a client. It's what we've talked about all the time on Marketing Crew, a target audience to become or remain a client. I think the benefit of periodically considering or looking at a sales promotion is, A, it increases sales, it creates brand awareness, it attracts new prospects, it stays in touch potentially with existing prospects, and it can reward the loyalty of clients. But moreover, it focuses ourselves and our audience on what we're about: sales, revenue. It's a focus mechanism. And I tend to look at it when maybe business has dipped or the pipeline is getting a little bit slow or whatever. Obviously, timing is important. Endless offers can devalue a brand. So, and I don't think anybody on here is promoting on, well, not by the sound of it, promoting on a regular basis, but bed companies come to mind where there's always a deal, and tends up to devalue the offer. And I think perhaps sometimes people are worried about a sales promotion because they only see it as a discount and they're worried about their profits. You'll need imagery, you'll need copy, you'll need to appeal to the client's needs, their values, their logic, and their emotional intelligence. So let's explore some sales promotion ideas. Now, I'm going to put some of them up, and some of them you think to yourself, well, these are definitely not going to appeal. So, free samples. Been to Costco recently, and one of the pleasures if you go at lunchtime is you don't have to buy lunch because you can go and sample everything. But Costco do that for a reason worldwide. They know if you try to sample a new particular promotional line, etc., you'll think, oh, that's nice, I'll go and pick one up, because they always give you the sample and they tell you where it's available in the aisle and how much it is. Commonly in days gone by at departmental stores, somebody would let you sample a perfume, and still do give you samples of things like that. And you may say, well, that's about taste, that's about smell. But what about feel? People buy an emotion. How could they feel the service that you have? How could they embrace it? How they can get involved? The bottom line is that people like things they can try before buying. So a trial. I let people come on 2 meetings on Marketing Crew before we ask them to make a decision as to whether they want to be a member like everybody else. So that's a trial, you know? And so that could be a promotion in itself, trialing a particular service. Next one is buy one, get one free. Well, we don't embrace that with the businesses that we're doing, but actually bringing a friend or inviting a friend could be a promotional, you know, mechanism. It'd be interesting to see whether that is a possibility with individuals. Another one, mainly for online businesses, cashback promotions, where somebody makes a purchase. And I've done 1 or 2 of those where Panasonic occasionally will do those, where you make the purchase and 30 days later, they'll put some money back in, you know? And I think that's probably avoiding any returns or changes of heart. I don't know. This is an interesting one. Lifestyle discount for students, for seniors. I've put down startups and solopreneurs. I told you recently I had frustration with 2 potential clients. One is the Wells Golf Course that is considering starting up a live business breakfast fortnightly. And I said I was frustrated because it was nearly a month since I heard back. I've heard back. I'm meeting them at 10:30 to discuss it. And in that situation, I'm thinking, well, I've got a price structure that startups and solopreneurs can have. But if somebody's part of a business, I would probably charge them higher. So that's something, you know, that one might be able to consider. Flash sales, discounts. I think here, the purpose of a flash sale and discount, I've put that in because online companies will do that. But the key part to take out of that is if you're doing a promotion, there needs to be a start and maybe a build up to that promotion. So it starts and there's an end time. So there's some sort of urgency to make a decision. And sales promotions that encourage repeat business. That's something certainly everybody in here is interested in. Now, that could be in online businesses, it could be vouchers or coupons, but it could be competitions that could take place. Let's look at a few more. And these, I think this could be interesting for Ollie, that apparently the 88% of carts are abandoned. And what that means is that somebody, and I've done it myself, you click, you go to make a purchase, and then you change your mind. Maybe sometimes people click just to see what the cost and what else is involved, but nevertheless, that represents a promotional opportunity. The opportunity could be that you can reach out to those people and offer them maybe an extra discount or an extra incentive to complete that purchase. I get it very often where I'll get an email and say, we've still got hold of the product you are about to buy in your cart, click here to complete the purchase. So again, that is in itself a promotion that clearly works. This is an interesting one, charitable cause promotions. And I know at the beginning of the year, Rob Stewart was talking about the work he does with mindsets, particularly for young men. And I think there's been Mental Awareness Month this week, in the month of May. And so anybody that's involved in that category, they could, highlight their own brand, their own values by maybe combining with the charity, either in whatever promotion it is, to promote the charity and promote themselves and maybe a donation to that charity. Loyalty promotions, program promotions are very good. And by that, I would think of where somebody goes into a coffee shop, and I've noticed in a pub whereby you make a purchase, somebody stamps a card. Not sure how we do it in our cases, but we can perhaps discuss that. This is a particularly interesting one, and I think very applicable here. And I know members have actually combined their different resources to go and do joint promotions. And that has got to be a really interesting one for us to consider and maybe discuss. Joint activity, where people are looking at the sum of the parts to give the client an even bigger value. And that could be as much as sharing contact lists. I don't mean literally sharing it, by promoting the other person to your list of contacts and them in turn promoting you. I know with this video that I've done for Marcus, obviously I'm trusting that Marcus will want to promote that, which basically exposes my video business to other people. And if Nick was to have a version of it, that could promote both me and, more important, Marcus to his audience. So that could be a really neat promotional idea we can discuss as this ends. Social media contests and giveaway, and I would think Anne-Marie's would be a star of looking at things like that. That could be an interesting one to discuss, Anne-Marie. And again, another one that's probably more appropriate for our group that are offering B2B. That could be referral discounts, referral payments. And by referral payments, I mean affiliate, not affiliate Kate marketing, affiliate marketing, where people are rewarded for introducing people to you. Because we know that there's a value of a client. We know there's a cost of acquisition. And very often, a referral payment, maybe a one-time payment or even a lifetime payment, is a good way of generating business. The benefit is you get other people talking about you, and moreover, you only pay once the business has come in and been paid for. So that was me. Let me see if I can get back. I'll do the stop share. And we're back again. And good to see Zoisa in the background there, and welcome Anne-Marie. So the big question is, there was only Damien that does any amount of promotional activity. And I'm wondering why nobody else does. Is it because you're overwhelmed with business? Is it because you've not thought of it, or why, you know? Or is there a change of heart? Now I've covered the different ways in which sales promotion can take place. Marcus is nodding. Damien.
Thanks, Paul. Hi, guys. One of the things that was interesting, Paul, when you were talking about sales promotion is that, in fact, some of this is user experience issues for most businesses, especially the ones that are dealing with online. So, you know, things like abandoned cart, for example, are mostly behavioral problems. And that's the way that the cart calculates the value of the product. And we don't spend enough time actually plotting out what is the journey that we take from someone actually choosing a product and putting it in the cart and buying it. So there are things like, you know, over a certain amount of money, you could set up that there are no delivery fees, for example, so that you take that step out of something. You can deal with a lot of those user experiences and those numbers by spending time setting up the shop you have, because all of these functionality exists, just people don't know how to set it up. The other thing about sales promotion is that anything anybody buys, you should offer more. So if I'm buying a pair of shoes, then in my shopping cart, there's an upsell to say, get this polish, it's 25% off with these shoes. Or recently did a promotion for Rattan Furniture, so for some guys in Yeovil, had some really good heaters that they managed to get with the purchase, and they offered a heater for everyone that was, you know, one set was bought together, for example. You know, they would click it into the store. So in fact, sales promotions should exist every day, all the time, and a variety of, and it all starts with the actual user experience, from shopping cart to complementary products, offering more.
I think
behavioral pop-ups as well, you know, that's at the right moment. So, you know, you could add in a timed behavioral pop-up on a page for a particular thing that someone's obviously looking at, and then offer them something there and then on the screen to take them from, you know, procrastinating 60 seconds in to, now only a small amount of people will get there, but it's just the right message at the right time. So that's what I'm talking about, is sales promotion should be built in that whole pathway.
I think that the putting yourself in the shoes of the person that's making that purchase is absolutely spot on, and offering additional value, whether you called it promotional value. We did talk about, you know, the additional values. What I would be slightly concerned about is that there's two people here that are involved in online activity, but I think everybody else is not necessarily selling from a page. They're doing it on a person-to-person basis. So it could be that those people can close their eyes to what you're saying, but I would want to say, keep it open and say, how do you convert that? I'll give you an example. A few years back, I've always been interested in public speaking and presentations and events, etc. And I came across a guy that actually did seminars on how to get people to events. So I was quite interested in that. And he was doing a special event somewhere near Woking, etc. And I think the price was, let's say it was £150. And I got to that cart and I thought, yeah, I'll do that, but I didn't have the card handy or whatever. I thought I'll do it later. So I pulled away. Within 2 hours, there was an email to say, I noticed that you're about to make that purchase, but you didn't. I'd like to make you an offer. Pay me what you think it's worth. And there was a guarantee anyway. And he gave me three choices. He gave me the choice of £97, £110 and £125. I'm making those figures up, but those three figures. One was definitely under £100. And I chose the lowest, cheapskate. And I was on a tight budget. And I was invited. I went along. There were about 80 people there. It was a really good event. And at some point, and he knew it was coming, we were asking questions. He said, when you made that offer, why did you make that? You know, what was the result of that? He said, well, I already had I knew from my figures, I had all my costs covered and I was in profit with a number that I'd sold, the number that I'd bought at the full price. He said, those extras were additional sales. So he then said, how many people paid the 125, which is a discount? Load of people shot up. How many people did the next one down, 110, say? Even more people shot up. And how many people chose the 97? And there was only about half a dozen of us. He says, that's an interesting psychology. People, psychologically, you don't want to be seen to be the cheapskate. I'm not bothered what people think. So I went for that. But most people went for that middle price. And we talked recently about when you're offering pricing structures. So pay what you think could be a nice promotion in that case and could apply. I think what Damien has said opens the question. If somebody's got to a point where you've made them you've done your pitch and you almost got it, have you lost it, or could you go back and say, I'm intrigued, just out of curiosity, why are we not working together? What has stopped you from working with me? And then maybe that could be either a sales fix, or it could be that if it's an issue like payment, you could offer different payment terms or whatever, or you could have thought of that in advance, you know. Ollie, you deal with a lot of, I should imagine, B2C and B2B. Do you find yourself people approaching you for sales promotion activity on the website, or and why do people do it and why do people not do it?
Yeah, definitely. I would say a lot of people do, and as Damien said a second ago, actually, one of the most, and you said, Paul, the most successful one is the abandoned cart thing, because often people they're researching, they're kind of looking at, you know, they're maybe trying to find out where the cheapest product is, or what delivery costs are, and they put it in their cart and then they leave it. And I always do it now before I buy anything. I'll put it in my cart, leave it 10-15 minutes, browse Facebook for a bit, and generally you'll get a pop-up or an advert on Facebook offering you some kind of discount for it, because most companies kind of do use it. So I'd say, yeah, the abandoned cart, and also I think what I think Damien just said about pop-ups as well actually is quite good to look at. Like on your Google Analytics, you can see the duration that people have spent on your site and on certain pages. So again, like sort of saying, if there's a page where people are spending the most amount of time, you know, they're engaged, you can then offer them a pop-up to get information from them. Trying to think of other customers, what they use, kind of like free options. So like they do, one company's offering free installation on their products as a kind of like a sales promotion, a pop-up thing for them. And affiliate actually schemes as well has worked quite well for some of my clients, where they actually have like an affiliate portal people can log into and get sort of discount things. Yeah, and then I was sort of thinking about, for me, actually looking at the list, that I do actually offer discounts for kind of not quite charities, but companies that are ethically minded, that kind of thing. But I don't actually publicize that anywhere. It's only if the company approaches me that I then say that that's what I do. And I was thinking that's something I really need to do more of, to kind of advertise. And then I was also got me thinking about, I wanted to do some kind of, everyone's probably seen this, you know, like plant a tree with your order type thing. So, you know, if people work with me, they do that. And I was wondering whether that is a kind of sales promotion or something that would help encourage people to make a decision with who they go with.
I would think it is if your target audience has that environmental mindset. Again, you've got to think of the audience and what you're doing it for. Damien, and then Anne-Marie.
You know, the other thing that brought to mind here, Ollie, thanks for that. Me and Ollie work on a few of my clients, and we actually do the whole UXP. go and dissect together the whole flow and look at all the data and analytics and understand actually where there might be some key trigger points. But that's really enjoyable stuff. We've been doing it recently. It's been quite interesting, I have to say. But the reason I was going to say is that actually sales promotions can also actually, you split up your offerings. So if you've got a specific product that you want to promote, you could sit your product on a domain name that is named that product. So, for example, I've got John's Garage in Yeovil, but he does MOTs and he's an MOT specialist. So we've got him the motspecialist.co.uk in Yeovil, MOTs in Yeovil as the domain name. And there's a sales page on that just sells MOTs. And then we've got one with a domain name that just sells remapping services, but it's not John's Garage. So everyone comes in at the specialist end of the name. And what we've been finding is that we've been getting the company's John Garage and the actual landing page MOTs in the first page of the listings. So he's getting 2 hits on one page of Google, or depending on what the search engines that we use. So that is a sales promotion. You're actually splitting up your product and promoting it in a domain name as the name of the product. And we've been finding great success with that. And we've been doing it for travel agents, and we've been doing it for a number of different people, but specific, it's easier to sell and do search words around one particular thing.
Again, that's fine for everybody that's generating lots of their business through their website, and maybe we should be saying more people should be doing that.
Even if we're like a professional services, say I'm an accountant and I'm doing something special on VAT, or there's a particular law that's come down, I could choose it, VAT law in Yeovil or wherever it would be, and I sit that landing page for the specific product that I serve. In fact, actually works better for professional services than it does for a shop, where you don't really want to divert people off, because the shop's where the main link you want to go to. But for like specific professional, niche areas, it can work really, really well.
So where would you do it for, say, a photographer or
so a photographer would
helps people write books?
Okay, so a photographer might be specific about a business domain, for example. You might specialize in one particular area. So you would create the domain like based upon the search words that are key to your website. So you look at the search words on your website, you say, how do people find me? And they might say something like, a very specific thing about the business domain. You would use that and buy your own domain, and you would sit that as a promotional landing page. So that is very similar to the search words of people finding you. And then you start to get to listing.
So food photographer, style photographer, Bristol, food photographer, Bath, or something like
weddings that might be specific to wedding photography. Something specific for business branding photography, advertising, videography,
right,
specialist. That's how you would do it, and it would be based upon your search criteria. Now what you're doing is you might plug in an ad budget into it, because that brings in a load of new leads, but they're not coming directly to your website, they're coming as leads to you, and then you turn them into clients, and then they end up being in your own zone. So it doesn't matter that they found John's Garage through the MOTs or remapping, or whether they found this travel agent from Let's Go Cruising and Let's Go to Caribbean or Tenerife. They're all going to end up in the same place, and then that database becomes the next sales process, which is they bought once, they'll buy again.
All right.
Hey, Damien, in that situation, you're trying to drive the traffic from one website to another website.
Yeah. So what I'm doing is the website that's fake, my fake landing page, which is more about my name, becomes the thing I chuck advertising spend at. So it just gets traffic one way. Once they capture the information, then you take over, and it'll become part of your estate, because they'll come to you. And you can do that in different ways, by sending them an email to book an appointment with you in, or for them to be redirected back into your site. It's just a little clever way of doing it. So, you might have satellite sites with 3,000 or 4,000 people hitting each one. Eventually, it's a numbers game.
Right.
Yeah.
We're moving into general marketing and web and SEO and all of that. And we're talking about sales promotion. However, a clever link is that what Damien is suggesting is that if you're going to have a promotion, a landing page, you've got to think about how you're going to make that announcement. But before we do that, and I've got that further on, how we get that promotion out, because a landing page is definitely, in other words, where you're going to take them to see the promotion. But Anne-Marie, I hope you haven't forgotten what you were going to say. You had a point.
I haven't. I now have 3 things to say.
Oh, good.
So the first thing is, Damien, I hear what you're saying. Is there not a cost to that? Don't answer right now, because I just want to put my other 2 points out, if that's okay. Because each time you have to buy a domain name, and presumably you have to host it, excuse my ignorance, but presumably there's a cost to that, which would be prohibitive for a small business like myself. So that's the first point. The second point, the user experience that you were talking about, your example of going to that event, Paul, which was great, flipping that around, did the people that had paid full price not feel aggrieved that there were people that hadn't paid full price? Because I know I would. So as a business owner, do we not have to look after that side of it as well and say, all of the people that signed up first and paid full price, actually, we're not really, you know, the bloke said, oh, I've made my money, so I'm fine, now I can offer it at a discount. That seems a bit unfair to those that believed in him and set it up in the first place, just my opinion. And the third point, before I forget, referral incentives. What would that look like? What sort of incentives? I've got a guy, for example, who's referred 4 people to me. 2 of them have gone ahead, the other 2 probably will go ahead. So he's obviously somebody I really want to keep on side. What does a referral incentive look like? Those are my 3 points.
Right. If I can answer, try and answer those 3. First of all, it depends depends who's doing your website, or, you know, I have my websites hosted. I have a hosting account anyway, so I've got that cost no matter how many websites I've got. The cost of a URL, a website address that Damien's mentioning, can be as low as £5, £1. You know, typically they're about 14 or 15 pounds. Okay, you might have to do that for a year, but very often you get one for nothing, and the second year is £14 or whatever. So it's not a big cost. It's but if you're doing it yourself, it's the expertise, etc. Maybe Ollie could come in on that one. Secondly, the idea about the guy and the people feel aggrieved. He did a survey after that, so I don't know the answer to that. I would think that if people got overall value from the money they paid, you know, that was it. All I know, there was 80 people, but you raise a good point. You raise a very good point. If I was
paying 50 quid more than someone else and we were both getting the same value, I personally would be a little bit annoyed.
How do you do when you go on a flight to
I don't go on aeroplanes because of my son.
Right.
Anne-Marie, I think if you look at conferences, Anne-Marie, you'll often see early bird discounts for normal price.
See, that's fine, yeah. That's
and then a last minute deal.
Yeah, if you do it that way, but kind of selling up front and then filling it at your full price and then going, oh, brilliant, I've made my money, fab. Now I can kind of get. I just feel that's a bit.
Well, in that case, you probably want to go there, but Damien, you've got a point.
Well, it's because it's a prerequisite to a final close. So what happens is he's been brought to a meeting. That meeting should end with, these guys, you've all paid this price. So those that paid 125 quid, you can get my pack for £5. Those of you paid 97, you can get my pack for £500. And the idea is that it's a prerequisite to a close. So you've got people that committed into that room, and because they committed, what he's upselling is like at the best value. So those people feel.
Yeah.
You've
given me time to think, Damien. Remember, with this particular case, generally, you on a flight could be sat next to somebody that has paid a lot less. I went on a trip to New York on the second voyage of the QM2. Myself and my partner paid £3,500. My friend's mother went on there. She paid £600 because she booked it the day before. Now, I wasn't aware of that. I was delighted, you know, in the end, I wasn't really bothered. Remember, the subject of this seminar was selling events. So he was explaining how you can sell extra tickets, how you can get people there. At most events you go to, you don't get told, well, I paid this and I paid that, etc. Although there is a risk that people say, well, how much do you pay, etc. And then people make their own decision. The final point you made was about referrals and how you reward that. You can retrospectively reward referrals. And we've mentioned this when we've talked about affiliates and referral marketing. If you've got somebody that's regularly giving you business, it's as well to value that, cultivate that arrangement. It doesn't have to be a preset arrangement, but you could reward that person with, say, if you know that person, if they've got children, you might want to give them a treat that involves their children. Could be you want to make a payment. Could be you just take them out to dinner, or you treat them to a voucher for he and his partner to a dinner. You can decide on that. Or you can actually offer with key referral partners. You're a member of BNI, so you'll know that that doesn't go on. But there's no reason why a group of people that you've got regular contacts with, for instance, Marcus and Nick Hems, there could be a reward system in that way. It's promotion, and it's certainly worth thinking about. Andrew, you I know it's your first visit, but I'm going to throw you in the deep end because we first met when we were talking about the whole referral marketing process, and you were telling me that you were involved in placing really smart coffee machines, and you asked me about the salon market. What on earth's that? Somebody playing with his car. That's strange, isn't it? Somebody's nicked his hubcaps. You were talking about getting involved in the salon market. I introduced you to a friend of mine, and I would have done that anyway, but you said, oh, you know, there'd be something in it for you. So there'd be a referral. Now, I didn't do it for that purpose, but were you doing anything like that with coffee machines, and are your existing clients, is that something that you know you've got some experience with?
Yeah, a little bit. It's something that we've done historically, where essentially referrals from customers who refer us to other customers. So we were talking earlier about an affiliate, and the way to qualify to become an affiliate was to be a customer. And so, yes, we wish to share a little bit of incentive with customers who referred us to other customers. The other thing we did is that we had relationships, or very, very sort of loosely based relationships with people like accountants and bookkeepers who were, because the machines that we were targeting businesses that could use the machines to increase revenue from existing customers. So, you know, shops, salons, beauty spas, all sorts, garages, because it seems like today people go to garage for everything except petrol. So, yes, we did, but there was a qualification criteria to become an affiliate, and that was you had to be a customer first. So, yeah, it worked very well.
Yeah. Especially if you've got customers that have got a big influence in your target market, or you've got or referral partners.
Yeah, that's right, and that's where things like accountants and bookkeepers came in, you know, they you'd like to think had their finger on the pulse of small businesses turnover and things like that, and were then speaking to a small business about increasing revenue through coffee was a welcome conversation.
Yeah.
So whatever makes it easier and makes it that welcome conversation.
I mentioned a few weeks ago that I was frustrated with a second potential client, which was the garden centre. I eventually got through to them, and there was a reason, as ever. This is where I'd pitched for he wanted some drone photography for a new garden centre. There was a management takeover, and but eventually when I got through, and he actually contacted me from my original email, he apologized and said that one of the 4 directors, a really key director, had backed out at the last minute and it was causing them no end of problems. Quite understandable. So we're back on with that. And I know that he wants video footage for social media, drone well, he said drone, but ordinary and, on the level. But it's clear that the business he's got is a seasonal business. And we talked about different ways in which you can use video for a business like his. And it could be that I could put together a promotion that says, look, if you book me for the next year, 4 times a year at the change of seasons, I'll come in and do some video. And if you do that over that period, instead of 495, it'll be 395 over 4 periods. So that could be a promotion in itself that could be quite enticing. I'm making those figures up, by the way. There's probably another 1,000 in front of that. But so many people on here don't perhaps. Where is that guy?
He's his decorator. He's having his house decorated.
Oh, right. I see. I must tell Rod how to take his image off when he's doing other things. Nevertheless, trials and tribulations. Has what we've just been saying any inspired any thoughts as to what we might do? Ollie?
Yeah, I'd really like to do some kind of sales promotion like leaflet. I think I've talked about before. I'd like to make sure everyone in Glastonbury knows who I am and what I do. And I was trying to think of, doing it in a way that a sales promotion that doesn't feel like it's, like I said, discount, half price or that kind of cheap thing that makes it look like you're trying to get work, which it isn't the case. It's more of an awareness thing. So I was trying to think the best way of doing it. I was thinking, I think I talked about this for like some kind of like maybe free audit on a website or something like that could be a good thing to kind of to do. Or I do like the idea as well, and I think someone locally does it, of kind of like maybe offering 2 or 1 website a month where it's slightly cheaper if someone signs up for it, so that there's that kind of limited sort of scarcity thing there to kind of encourage people to do it. But I think for me it's trying to find that balance, and I think probably for everyone where maybe you're doing some kind of incentive but it's not devaluing my offering or our offering really.
Ollie, you just give me some thought there. I'm going to come back to it when Nick and Andrew have had their say. I think it was Nick slightly first.
Yeah, I think Ollie's hit the nail on the head there, Paul. I think for like a lot of the businesses in this room, we're premium service-led businesses. We're selling, relatively high-value items where the quality of individual service is absolutely important and a critical part of the process. And I certainly wouldn't want to do anything that kind of devalues my brand and the way in which I work. And I think it's navigating your way through, isn't it, to find that optimum position where you're enhancing your brand, but you're still offering value at the same time, which gives people something to to shift their attention towards you rather than your competition. And it's very subtle. I think we don't want to be seen as we don't want to be seen as price-led discounters. Certainly I don't, and I'm sure.
And neither would I, and that's why I've covered the full gamut of what sales promotion is. It's promoting a sale that's still hanging on to your brand values. So no, I don't think I would sooner give extra value or different. It's all about creativity there. I mean, I'm not going to share the screen again, but I did just a couple of screen grabs. London Sock Company, high quality socks. I used to order them. I've got enough now. And so I stopped the subscription. They still stay in contact. And they've just offered me £10 off a £50 order to welcome me back. The Week is a magazine that I used to have for a while. I stopped that ages ago. And they just said a welcome back offer. They're going to offer me, 7 weeks for £7 plus a moleskin type diary. Journal rather. That's very, very tempting. Now, the publications, people like the Telegraph and the Spectator and all of those, they want to keep their subscription lists up because that sells advertising. So they do it on a regular basis, and I play that game. But I don't think it demeans them in any way in that case. But whatever you do promotional wise, you don't want it to cut into the values that you hold dear and part of your brand. It must not destroy your brand. That's why sometimes linking with a charity can enhance your brand. Andrew, and I think Zoisa's at the Chelsea Flower Show. So let's get Andrew first, and then you can tell us where you are, Zoisa. Andrew.
Yeah, just something that popped into my head when Ollie was speaking then. I've had experience of people I know who were talking about promoting without looking like you're promoting, and they use a website called Ppc Ad Lab. I've just put it in the chat, and that generates a report for free of how people's advertising is performing. And someone like in Ollie's business or Damien's business could use that to then as a way in, as a foot in the door. I have this report, it's yours free. The cost to you is we got to sit down and have a conversation about what else you're doing. So it's just something that popped into my head and that I've seen used quite well. And the person that uses it does get lots and lots of initial appointments, and then obviously from then on it's up to him. That tool generating a free report does very well for him.
Yeah. I'm about to launch. I've got a couple of ebooks that I've produced. I was listening to something last night, and he said, "I'm actually going to change the name to a guide. So a guide to networking on purpose, a guide to lead generation marketing, rather than an ebook. I think a guide or a cheat sheet." So Isa, look as if you are out in the fresh air, and it's good to see you. Did you have a point there, Zoisa? Your microphone's not on.
Yes, I guess it's interesting listening to the different things, and I guess my curiosity is when it comes to, so for me, having launched into a new area of applied kinesiology or functional kinesiology, when it comes to sales, people don't really know what it is. So I'm finding that actually half of the or part of the process is in educating. It's like if they don't know what it is or what it's about, then actually before you can get the sale, it's like I'm having to spend the time to educate the person on what it is and how it can help them. So just, if any thoughts or about that.
I think certainly education is part of the communication we have for our business. It's you would, in two ways. First of all, educating a market that could use the service that you have, but are not aware that they could use it. And also the market that is into the service that you offer, but educating them as to the additional benefits or the additional advantages of working with you or devoting more time to kinesiology. I just had a friend of mine just been away on holiday, and a person in the next apartment that she was staying at was a reflexologist, and he gave a couple of treatments, and she was blown away with the effect of the reflexology. So again, she's full of it now because he's at the same time educated that person onto what they'll do. Anne-Marie.
Oh, she's gone. I was just going to say. Sorry.
No, she hasn't. No, she's.
Oh, she's there. I don't profess to know, obviously, how you operate or anything like that. But I'm just wondering if, like a demonstration type event, whether that would help if you actually physically demonstrate it. I don't know whether that's appropriate or not. It's just something I'm throwing out there. The only reason I said that is we had a face-to-face meeting at BNI on Friday, and I took a selection of the books that I've published with me and put them on the table. And for some reason, people actually seeing the books went, "Oh, yeah, I get it now," which makes no sense to me because I've been telling them for months what I do. So I was just thinking the practicalities of showing or demonstrating, I don't know. That was just a thought I had.
I would think that's absolutely essential. I know when I started in sales in menswear, the first thing I was taught is when somebody comes in, get their trousers off or get their jacket off. In other words, they're comfortable in what they are, but the minute you can get that off. I used to be, it was a game. I used to, you're about 42 regular, aren't you? Or 38 waist, and they'd correct me, and then I'd choose a pair of trousers. Just for size. That's the comment. Just for size. Can you try that on? And the minute I got that on, they suddenly were in a change of state. And actually getting people, remember, part of the communication is smell, sight, and feel. So when you can feel a book, when you can thumb through it, it adds that different dimension. And I know Chris is certainly one that is involved in that. You've recently, Chris, I know you had some personal issues which have stopped you from being on the call, but I know that you did some very professional videos, and you're now in a state where you think, how am I going to promote those? So in terms of sales promotion, do you want to explain what you've done there? Maybe we can all pitch into with some ideas as to how you can take those forward.
Sure, thanks, Paul. Yeah, most of you already know this, but for those that don't, during lockdown, obviously my job is massage. So I put my hands on people, hopefully they feel better. That's been difficult, if not impossible, with social distancing, especially in 2020. So we started inventing YouTube videos that people could take advantage of so they could just help themselves. So stuff that I could show people how they could do on themselves, on Zoom, on Teams, and on YouTube. It's taken off, and off the back of it, we decided to put together proper video courses that we can sell. So we've got 4 video courses, which we're just in the process of finishing off the ends of. All the videos are in the can, if you like. And now we're trying to work out how to promote them. Now, as Paul says, there's my normal situation with massage is if I meet any of you, and most of you can testify to this, the first thing I do is I get my mitts on you because, I can't talk about massage and not do it. That's the first one. And more importantly, I can't make you feel like I want you to feel after a massage unless I've done you a massage. So no brainer for me to get my hands on you, say, can I borrow a hand or whatever. Now, that works really well. And up to now, when we talk about to individuals about the self-help stuff, I show them moves. Yeah, I'll show them moves in person or on Zoom, and I'll say, right, okay, if you've got this particular condition, this will really help. So do this, and off they go. But when we're talking to corporates, it's really tricky to get that message across in a professional way. And I've absolutely no idea how I'm going to do it.
Well, to get that message across, I assume, am I right in saying that the videos that you've done, and I know you got a special videographer in to do that, quite an experienced one, they were really aimed at corporate because your YouTube ones were, you say, were very effective, so you could reach out, but you want to reach out to corporate, so you felt that the video course itself, you're wanting to sell to corporate. Am I right?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, small businesses and medium-sized businesses is probably our target audience at the moment, I think. I think there's loads and loads of stuff in corporate where we're looking at multiple licenses, but that feels like running before we can walk. And at the moment, we haven't done the promos, so we're not going to do the promos until we work out who our audiences might be, so that we direct those promo videos towards the audience that we're looking for. Now, I appreciate that's a bit of a shot in the dark, but I suspect I've got about 6 different audiences here, which is part of the entertainment. And we're going to do 4 or 5 promos throughout the videos to get everything in line with that. So we'll probably produce different promos for different potential audiences. But it is a very much a field of dreams moment. It's if you build it, they will come. So my intuition was really strong that I needed to take these actions. We had various signposts last year when we did that Perks at Work gig in May last year. We had 1,000 people sign up, and as you know, Paul, about 500-600 stayed the whole hour and a quarter, which is quite impressive. So I think there's a need for the service, but whether or not we have produced the right material for it, I guess we'll find out. And if it needs adapting, then that's what we'll do. I mean, we'll try stuff out and see if it works.
All right, Anne-Marie, you've got a point.
Yeah, I was just going to ask a question, actually, Chris. Lovely to see you, by the way.
Yeah, thank you.
What can I ask? I'm a bit confused. What are the videos? Are you teaching people how to do massage so that they can massage other people, or are you showing people techniques they can use on themselves so that they can help themselves?
Yeah, it's the latter, Anne-Marie. It's I've got about 23 massage moves in these courses. There's 4 different courses, but essentially one of them is just massage moves. One of them is mental health, self-care. We've got some teaching modules in as well. So each course is about between 12 and 14 modules, and some of them repeat over the different courses and some of them are individual to the course themselves. And we tackle things like managing your video calls so that you don't burn yourself out or you don't end up running meetings back to back. We do stuff about breathing and sleeping so that you can get more energy and you sleep better and stop snoring and things like that.
So you're kind of sitting in the self-help space then?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I mean, it's mostly self-help, but it potentially from a mental health self-care or mental health first aider point of view, we're offering tacit help for the individual so that they actually can take control of stuff for themselves. And it takes the onus slightly off the company that they work for by providing almost a personal help video or set of videos without necessarily having to engage that person individually in a workshop, though I would hope at some point to get that work too.
Okay, Nick, sorry, Anne-Marie, does that answer the question?
Yeah, because I was just trying to think how I could help you, and I needed to understand what the purpose of your videos were so that then I can obviously give it some thought. So yes, thank you.
Your courses are set against surrounding a particular problem that somebody at work might have or an issue, but either posture, including video and Zoom, or mental health as a subject. So they're the different subject headings.
Yeah, sort of flexible working life. So we've got obviously a lot of people are operating on this hybrid working arrangement at the moment, where they're in the office 1 or 2 days a week or 1 day a month, and the rest of the time they're either working from home or, like Rob does, working mobile. And we want to make sure that people have got the right help so that they are able to manage themselves and their overwhelm or difference while they're trying to operate largely remotely. So that's another one. And the last one, of course, is screen fatigue, which is all about just getting people off those video calls, or if they're not off those video calls, in an environment where they can cope with the stress of it all. Because running back-to-back meetings for 8-9 hours a day will break you very quick.
Yeah, and companies, your target audience, they want to be seen to be addressing mental health issues. They want to be seen to be looking as a means to recruit the right people as well. It's part of their branding. Yeah. Nick, you had a point.
Yeah, just a kind of supplementary to Anne-Marie, and good to see you back as well, Chris. Do you see the people that would be buying these courses as HR managers, or who within an organisation would be the person that actually says we need that for our employees?
That's a
that
good question.
might help you then think about how you're going to reach out to the organisations.
I think HR managers are one. Commercial managers potentially might be a second one, because we are an incentive for employees. There's I don't know really where mental health first aiders fall within organisations. It's still something I'm yet to truly understand. I would imagine it falls under HR, but I'm not sure. Some groups like my wife works at Ardman, they have a similar arrangement that Waitrose do, where they have a group of employees who essentially do a lot of the soft sell stuff or soft admin from a company point of view. So they're involved in the infrastructure. That might be an organization which would be helpful to at least get them to engage. HR consultants who advise companies externally with HR stuff, they're definitely our bag. Events companies are also useful for us because potentially we're an entertaining workshop. So yeah, that's where I think it is. I think individuals will buy it as well, Nick, but I can't see that necessarily individuals are our takeaway. I mean, potentially, you know, charities and NHS and so on are also possibly an important thing that we need to suss out.
Chris, maybe a nice way to kick it off, which would give you a real platform, would be if you could get a case study of a business that you've worked with where they bought your product. And you can show the transformation that that's then had with the people in the business. You can then talk about that on social media and wherever else. And I think that would it would bring the product to life a little bit. I think a bit like Anne-Marie said, it's trying to understand how your product will be used, but a case study would do that really well for you.
Yeah,
I think that's a great way, Nick. I'd written something similar to that. I'd actually approach who you believe to be your target audience and explain what you've done and offer it to them to them for nothing.
Yeah. That's a launch investment effectively,
on the condition that you get some feedback and that you can start to discuss and collaborate the success stories, which you could use in the form of a testimonial. And if it's a reasonably high profile one, to get that testimonial quote, you know, even a couple.
Or a video testimonial.
Yeah. I think also, and I think I don't necessarily want to go into your pricings, etc., but you might want to think about, and you want to get some traction. You want to get people using it. So how you promote that, I know you'll probably be tempted to say, right, I want to get my investment back, so this is how I'm going to promote it. So this is how I'm going to price it.
I'm not bothered about that right now. I mean, it may sound stupid to say, Paul, I'm really not bothered about getting my money back this year. I mean, I'd like to find our audience this year, and I'd like to start with it this year. I'm not ambitious about having to make all my money back this year. I think we will get our money back. I'm not worried about that. But even if we don't, even if this ends up being something that I tried and it didn't work, I don't really mind, because it's transformed my idea of what my business is going to be moving forward, and I think that's been very useful.
Right. You've just said it again, and I think it's all about audience. It's really you've built it thinking that the audience would appear, but maybe and you've had a rough idea. Probably a good idea about who the audience is. Now you need to get in front of that audience and actually reaching out to people to asking you for help. This is what I've got. This is what I need, what I'm looking for. And I'm looking for 3 companies of this size to trial this. And can anybody help? So if you can, you therefore need to describe exactly who you want, the type of business you want to get into, and then just start asking people who they know. I just picked up on my oldest son's works for Digitas, and they've just done a thing with Nivea and Liverpool Football Club, and the video has just come out on social media, and it's all about mental health issues. So it's about explaining what you want to achieve, either in written form, video form, or whatever, interview form, and then just reaching all the people you know, asking for their help, and they will help you. They will come and help you. That's for sure. And you may, at some point, when it's generating income, you might want to seek out the ongoing referral partners, people who normally are dealing with these businesses And they could be web developers, but they're more likely to be offering other types of services that are linked to mental health or movement or whatever. Ollie, you were nodding, or did you have a point?
Yeah, I was just going to ask a question actually. In that I was intrigued as to what everyone here would be, what your ideal sales promotion that would attract you would be from a B2B point of view. If there was a professional service, whether it was, you know, a web designer, photographer, someone helping to write a book, what would be the thing which would entice you most to kind of to use them? I was thinking for me, it would probably be like some kind of free guide. I think if it was a printed one, actually, I think would be, you know, like maybe with Rod, it might be a kind of like the things you need to think about for a funeral, you know, dress, the eulogy, that kind of stuff. And I was just trying to think, yeah, what would be the most attractive thing for me from a B2B thing? I was just intrigued what anyone else's kind of thing would be. Soft toys
for their own business.
Well, no, if you're dealing with someone else, so for example, if I don't know, Nick was looking to have some graphic design done from Martin, maybe, you know, would there be a particular sales promotion that would attract him to that? So whether it was, yeah, like, would it be a discount? Would it be a kind of a loyalty scheme? You know, if he comes back and uses Martin again, would that be more attractive? You know, gets a preferential rate if he uses him twice, that kind of stuff.
I'm not sure that we need to. There's a balance to be had, isn't it? We've got to think, why would I do a sales promotion? I know the discussion is about sales promotion. Why would I do a sales promotion? I think that's what we started with. You've got to think of a reason. And if your business is moving along, and I get the feeling that, you know, Nick's particularly busy and Marcus is busy, and I know Anne-Marie is sometimes overwhelmed with her popularity and busyness, and maybe the need for a sales promotion isn't required so much. I think there's got to be a reason for that. And I think the reason is I need to get some momentum going. I need to announce something. And I'll give you an example. And Ollie has inspired me. There's something we can do together, Ollie. I've recently been, and this is where joint ventures and collaboration come in. And I think this is where a lot of us could be thinking about. I was recently visited GFM. They were my third frustration because they hadn't got back to me. Glastonbury FM is a community radio station, and I through a third party, I was introduced to them. I know them anyway, but they've got new board directors, and their problem is that they don't know who their audience is. They don't know how many people listening, because you've got to pay the BBC for that, and they work on a shoestring. Anyway, the upshot was I went to speak to them, and I said, what about the people that used to advertise with you? Why are they not? And the guy said, well, I don't know. I wasn't there at the time. I said, is anybody reaching out to find out? No. And I said, if you want to do this on a collective basis, you need a sales promotion. I didn't say it like that. I said, how about if we invite all the businesses that used to be around, and all the businesses we also know that you're trying to get into, and all the others in the Glastonbury area, and we invite them to an evening at the Red Brick Building where they're situated. You'd need to have a reason for them to get there. So maybe facing the economic, the economic situation, getting more, and I'm suddenly thinking, getting more from your website or whatever. So Ollie and I could put together a promotion that, or an event, and an event is a promotion that then at the end of it, because I've already said to them, when you get them there, and I can help you get them there, you need to know what the call of action is. What are you going to do? Are you going to give them a promotion? Are you going to invite them to advertise? Would you give them a special rate for a month because they turned up? In other words, you brainstorm that. And it could be that Ollie at the same time can give them a review or whatever. So you can see where that is a sales promotion could work very well. I'm up for that, Ollie, if you are. Should we do that?
That sounds like it'd be a really good thing to do.
And then you see Ollie's got local contacts. He could bring them in. Whether they take any advertising space is irrelevant. It's getting people to be, focused on sales activity. That's the whole idea of promoting their sales. And that would do that brilliantly for GFM. And out of those 80 people, I guarantee there's some people would say, I'd give that a go. I'll see what results I can get. And who knows, Ollie could end up revamping their website or whatever. I know that we went to an AGM a couple of years back, Rod and I, and Rod used to sell advertising space to the radio station. I've told them that. Have they contacted you? Absolutely. There could be a lost hope. They frustrate the life out of me. I've already told them that Rod, and I'm not sure he would want to help, but he has got experience selling advertising space on radio. Give him a call. I've given him the number. Has he called? That's the problem. Anyway, so that was the idea. Marcus, you've looked at sort of joint activity because and I think Nick has as well, because you want your target audience to think about the ongoing power of photography. And I know you do classes as well. I've been on one of them. Excellent. Is there any way in which you can link the two? For instance, could you get a target audience and invite them to a class as to how to get more from your photography in your advertising? The same goes for Nick. Could that be a promotion in itself? It doesn't have to have a charge to it, or it could have a charge. It could certainly have a charge if you invite people. That venue we went to in Bath, that could be a really good way of getting into the Bath the Bath community.
Yeah, yes, I could do something like that, Paul. But what do you?
But you're so busy at the moment, you don't need to. So hence that.
No, there's not a case of not need to. No, not saying that at all. No, but yeah, for sure. I mean, do you know what? I mean, I started this. You asked who does sales promotion. I thought, well, I didn't even know what a sales promotion is. And now you've mentioned what it is. I suddenly think, oh, I'm doing all of those. You just do it. I mean, joint ventures, referral payments, subscriptions. I do all of those. I just
well, that's reassuring, isn't it?
Yeah, I guess it is reassuring. It is reassuring, but yeah, I do. Yeah.
And what in that case, what do you find has worked has been the most effective? One or two of the, in other words, what would you say? Right, I'm going to do that again.
It's also new. It's hard to say definitively. The joint venture I'm doing with Jack Cook, which is where we're doing a video and photograph session together. That's ongoing. That's going on throughout the year. Yeah, so that's quite good. I mean, the subscription thing I'm doing with my clients, that's been very effective. People looking for subscriptions, and I really like that because it means I can work with people over a long period of time and be a bit more controlling on their media. I've just started with the Professional Speakers Association, a venture with them where their members get discount if they use me, because that's my target market. So, these are all things I'm just starting off with. I'm in the last 6 months, so it's hard to say anything definitive. It's
hard to say because we do a promote, and it's hard to say because you've done a promotion. Have you measured it? And the trouble is, if you measure it to begin with, for instance, I'm thinking about with Jack Cook, it could be that the initial response is small and you think, oh, it's not worth doing, or only just covered my costs. But that's because you've only done it once and not many people know about it. So I think the fact that you're doing it over the year is a good thing, because you've got to say, I've put this effort in. Has it worked? Have I given enough time to work? Anne-Marie, you've got a point.
Yes, I was going to say, Marcus, the fact that you're doing all of that is exactly why you don't need all of that. You're already doing it. Yeah, so my point was events. Yes, you're talking about events. I personally think events are brilliant, and I always recommend to my authors, and I'm not talking about NEC type events, although that would be fantastic if you could afford it. I'm talking about local things that happen. You know, there's all sorts of different events that go on, and you can get, if you ask the right questions, you can get there and do a speaker slot, you know, for like an hour or something. And the thing is, when you're at something like that, it's a captive audience. So you take your books or whatever you happen to be promoting with you, because they're there, they're listening to you, and hopefully they've bought into you and the passion and everything. They will then, in my experience, they will then buy. So I do think, especially as we're opening up now, events is a really, really good place to start looking. And it's certainly something that I'm going to be looking into.
Well, I've got to say, I think Hay has a book festival, don't they? And there's different festivals. You could run a Meet the Author event over coffee and cake, or Meet the Authors. So if your authors of recent people are up for it, you could have just a simple thing in a cafe where you promote it as Meet the Author. If you've ever had the idea to have to create a bit, come and meet people that, you know, if you ever had the idea to write a book, come and meet people that have.
Yeah, that's a really good idea, actually. Thank you for that.
Marcus.
Yes, to Anne-Marie, I was just actually thinking of you last week when I was at the Professional Speakers Association.
Oh, that's kind of you.
There's one thing they all do, or they nearly all did, they're all writing a book. Of course, it goes hand in hand, isn't it? That's why that's my market.
So presumably you sold me to every single one of them.
Oh, I will do. Leave with me. But no, it could be a good market that for you, actually, couldn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm inbuilt in me to challenge and to be controversial. And the challenge is, and I have that myself, I come up with so many different ideas. Ideas are not difficult to come up with. Some people find it, but I don't find it difficult to come up with ideas. And the creative people on here don't find it difficult to come up with ideas. Taking the necessary sustained action to bring those ideas into fruition is where the channel lies, because we've got these ideas bouncing about. We see them all around, and it's like, where next? And I'll give that a go, and then I'll give that a go. And that is that you've got to recognize that is a problem. So you've got to say, right, what's going to give me the best return? And that for sure. And you've got to almost say no to certain things. Nick.
Yeah, thanks, Paul. We talked about lots of different kind of tactics today, haven't we? And I know that I'm as bad as the next person, or not as bad, but sometimes you can do lots of different things, can't you? And it can be a scattergun approach. And sometimes actually that's stepping back and thinking, right, this is what I want to achieve in the next 3 to 6 months. And I'm going to create a campaign around this rather than just doing tactical stuff. I'm going to bring all these things together, and they all lead towards this one objective. And yet to achieve that, you've got to be really confident that one thing you're doing is the big thing to go for, because you're putting all your focus in that area. But I think there's a lot of power to creating a campaign. And I'm not the person to kind of talk or present about that, but it'd be brilliant if we ever had the opportunity to either invite a guest in, maybe to Marketing Crew, to talk about the power of creating and how to go about creating a marketing campaign, not just the tactical stuff that we all kind of do day to day.
Well, maybe we see what we can do and turn around Glastonbury FM around and give that.
Or if we can find someone that we could invite in that's got that kind of expertise.
Yeah, well, if you've got anybody like that, let me know.
Yeah,
that's for sure. Right, I'm going to bring this to a close because we're reaching the half hour, 9:30. So I hope everybody's enjoyed that. If I can go around and just say there's one thing that is, you know, is worthy of thought, worthy to pursue. Tracy.
Yeah, so good meeting. What struck home for me was the bit at the beginning about the kind of different domain names and kind of linking that with what you're maybe kind of selling. which then led me on to kind of ask the public to get those kind of inquiries that people are asking about, so as you can target it back to what the customer's saying. So that was what struck home for me this morning.
Certainly, Damien was very focused on getting in front of the audience that's got the problem or is asking the questions. That is pretty damn perceptive, that. Because if you know what questions they're asking, you can answer those or address those questions, and then there's an instant connect. And that certainly needs digital and SEO and expertise, that's for sure. Rod, I thought somebody was stealing your hubcaps at one stage, but I know you've got decorators in, but you'll see from the recording that he suddenly appears where you're sat and then reaches down to the wheel. So I don't know.
Never mind. I mean, yeah, two things for me. Two things really. Outside of the meeting, Jason made me aware of a domain that I bought, which was affordablefunerals.co.uk. So I thought that was quite good. Nice of him. Also, I think the what Ollie said, yeah, about the potentially an ebook or a printed version that you can offer on your website. It's giving something away for free. It's giving someone an insight into how a funeral works or doesn't work, whichever way you want to look at it. But it's it's a giveaway, which actually I don't suppose any funeral director I know has anything like that. So that could be interesting, really. So it could be a collaboration between Ollie and Anne-Marie, you know.
And I think that
I'll have some involvement, but
I think calling it a guide is another even better. I'm really into that at the moment. Ollie.
Yeah.
Thanks, Rod.
Yeah, thank you. That was really good, really interesting. And I think a bit like Marcus, actually, when you start to think about it, and Nick was saying, you do actually do lots of these little elements, but probably not with the intention that should have behind it. So that was good with this session. For me, I think two things actually. I like the idea of, I think Marcus was saying, offering a discount in a certain group. So I think it was the public speaker group you said about. So I was thinking like the Glastonbury Chamber of Commerce, maybe for businesses that are registered with them to offer some kind of incentive in the view that they promote me. But yeah, for me, I think my sales promotion idea is to focus on appealing to people's kind of conscience and maybe promoting the fact that all my hosting is really green and things like that, and the other kind of stuff like that. Maybe trying to get involved in one of these kind of reforestation schemes as well. So like for every website hosted, 5 trees are planted or something like that. That's just a nice kind of sales promotion that makes people feel like they're doing something good as well.
Did you know that there's a meeting that Mendip have promoted for a breakfast on Thursday at Nunny, and it's about environmental sustainability, and there's special speakers, and it's free. I'll send you the link. Rod and I are going. Nick.
Yeah, really good session. It kind of highlighted to me that there's just so much you can do in the promotional mix area, isn't there? And I think for me, it's just keeping it simple and keeping it consistent with my brand and not being price led. But I need to get more creative, I think, kind of thinking of those original ideas that add value to the brand.
I think that's sometimes that's a great benefit in collaborating with somebody, because the two heads, the sum of the parts is much bigger, because you do need, even daft ideas suddenly, as long as it's
become interesting and achievable.
Yeah. Marcus.
Yeah, thank you very much, Paul. I think there's definitely been a clarification here for me, and moving forward, I agree. I think I need to just find out what's working and simplify it down a lot. Simplify it down. But yeah, it takes time, and I think you've got to try these things out, and it's good fun. It's interesting. Some things work, some things don't. You've got to try it, haven't you? Really.
Yeah, that's the challenge with really creative people. You've got to keep pulling them back.
Yeah,
Martin,
I find working within a niche for me helps, because I can put it in different boxes. I've got my hairdressing, I've got the motivational speakers, and another box which is everything else.
I'm never convinced about discounts to groups, I have to say, because that is aiming at you're assuming that they can't afford it or whatever. I think that there's the price we pay is relevant to, is that something I can see a benefit from? Do I see value? And you've got to have that first. So throwing a discount out just because they're part of a group, I'm not altogether convinced about that. A discount could be used once the sale is about to be closed as a special offer, first-time offer. So I'd think creative. I'm not against like a reduction, but you've got to think about where and when. And I noticed that FSB, for instance, give you a discount on all sorts of things, but I never used to take any notice of that because I didn't know I wasn't in that market, or didn't know the value. Martin.
Yeah, I wasn't sure. As a service, I was thinking, well, I don't know, like these promotions, what to do or where I'm going with those. And it was quite interesting to hear everybody talk about what they do as a service rather than selling a product. So you sort of realize, like, for instance, I bought a sort of bakery market list, email list, to specifically target those based on the work that I did with Nick, so you start to think about specific things. Or I work with charities sometimes for free, but it also promotes yourself, and that people, even though it's a good thing, that those people running the charities know other people. So that's probably my way of promoting myself.
It's just really condensing what we do from a day-to-day basis, condensing it into some sharp activity which focuses us and everybody else and gets that visibility and gets the action. That's, to me, what sales promotion is about. Chris, it's really good to see you back again. And any response from you? Any thoughts?
Well, first of all, I want to say thank you for everyone's input. That was wicked. I've written down lots, which is a good sign. And it's nice to say some of this stuff out loud because it kind of reinforces what you think, if that makes sense. I suppose I have one little thing to add, which is if any of you have got any companies that you think might be up for this, to try this out as part of this case study, if you like. If there's anybody got any good ideas, I'd be very receptive to that. But other than that, it's to say, have a lovely week, everyone.
I certainly know somebody that works in that HR area, and she would be a great contact to at least have a conversation with. I'll put you together on LinkedIn.
Lovely, thank you.
And I think that, to me, it would be a conversation. This is what I've done. Find out a bit more about what she does, but this is what I've done. Paul's put us together because there could be some synergy in it, but I need some help. How would you go about this? And get her involved with thinking about who she may be able to connect you with. That'd be good.
Cool.
And I certainly would go back to Rob Savage as well, because he's still involved in that arena. Anne-Marie, finally.
3 things. Firstly, I'm going to stalk Marcus because he's got it sussed, so watch out. I'm going to be getting arrested. Secondly, I'm going to send a bottle of whiskey to my referral person and hope he likes whiskey. But more importantly, you've reminded me, which I completely forgot about, which is really bad. I talked myself into presenting at the co-working space that I go to. And they were looking for people, and I was just like, yeah, I'll do it. And she said, brilliant, send me something over. And it's gone clean out of my head. So this has reminded me that I need to put something together so that I can get a date in the diary, and then I can go and present to all the lovely people that work there.
Great. And maybe have some sort of enticement to give them something at the end of it. A gift, an offer, a cheat sheet, a guide. And if you're doing that, give them 2 so that you can hand it to somebody else that you know.
Well, I do like my pens. Everyone compliments me on my pens. So
Right.
there's always a free pen until they run out, obviously. So yes, I will do. So thank you very much, everyone. It's been really insightful.
Good. Thank you very much. I hope you have a great week and watch this space. See you soon.
Bye.